The iPhone 17 Pro recently released and is causing a lot of buzz because of the photo and the video quality that this thing can produce in this small of a form factor. And I made a video on my social media page comparing the quality between the Sony a7S III and the iPhone 17 Pro shooting in Apple Log 2. And most of my audience couldn't really tell the difference. In all honesty, I think even the people that got it right, even half of those were probably guessing. So this phone is showing that something that lives in your pocket can be a serious piece of gear to add to your toolkit. Now, this isn't to say that the iPhone is a replacement for interchangeable lens systems. It's clearly not. I mean, the Sony a7S III has a lot better low light performance. You obviously get better depth of field with the lenses that you can add, but this could actually be something that you can add into your system. Now, for me personally, I do a lot of live music videos where I use multiple cameras. And where this can fit in with my workflow is that I'm always running into an issue where I want one of my cameras to get a wide shot of the group. Now, I already have 3 cameras. I have the a7S III, the a7 IV, the a7C Mark II. I actually have an a7S Generation 1 that I use sometimes, and sometimes I use it for the wide. But now I can use all those cameras for maybe personal shots, close-up shots, and then I can use this iPhone to be the wide shot because I don't really need all that depth of field. I do want a deeper depth of field. Color grade wise, the Apple Log 2 profile pairs really well with the Sony. And like I said, I did that poll comparing the two, just purely based on color grade, and a lot of people couldn't even tell. Now, I will admit at the time, I did have to tweak some of the settings on the Sony camera to compare it better with the bare bones iPhone look, because I didn't have an ND filter for the iPhone to get that 180-degree shutter rule like I do on my Sony camera. That's the reason why I'm making this video, and that's the reason why I was really excited to get this. This is an iPhone 17 Pro case made by Moment. Now, the reason why I got this specific one is because they make a proprietary quick lock system, which is this right here. This is a variable ND filter that is made specifically for iPhone. Now, if you've seen on the internet, there are other companies that make ND filter systems for the iPhone. Whereas you buy this accessory that goes onto the case and then you can add your own 67mm ND filter, which could be perfect for what I do as far as the multicam stuff. But the reason why this system was so attractive to me was because I'm also in search of a small, minimal, compact, inconspicuous vlogging / cinematic setup. Whenever I'm going out with my girlfriend or I'm with my friends or I'm out and about with my family, pointing the Sony a7S III with my long zoom lens on it, it just kills some moments, and then people get nervous, and it just ruins any sort of candidness that I can get out of it. But if I put my iPhone inside this case, then it just feels like I'm just shooting a video for social media, which is what I plan on doing, but also I can keep candid moments candid. Also, it's just a lot lighter. So I just recently went on a trip to Japan with my family, and I didn't want to bust out my Sony camera at every moment, or I'm not even allowed to carry around my Sony camera into a certain venue or space. But a cell phone, no one really bats an eye when you put a cell phone on. And if you start building out your cell phone kit, you're gonna start drawing more attention. But this system right here is so small and inconspicuous that I can pretty much get cinematic video anywhere that I go, and still pair it with my Sony system seamlessly. So that's the reason why I wanted this specific system. Now, there's a lot to love about this. I already touched on a few points that I like about it, but there are some cons that I will get into, and there's one huge con that kind of makes it a deal breaker for me. But just because it's a deal breaker for me doesn't mean it's a deal breaker for you. So let me just go over some of the benefits of having this system, and then we'll get into the cons. Now, design-wise, I mean, shoot, this thing is a beautiful case. I love this tan color that we have right here. You can get this in 3 other colors on their website, but I chose to go with the tan. And I did feel like it was something that was cool, was aesthetically pleasing. On the sides here, we do have some buttons, and these feel really great. I don't feel like you can press them super easy, but they're also not super hard to press as well. I do have this camera shutter button mapped to open up my Blackmagic camera app, and it is flush on the case, but it's very easy to press, and it doesn't ever feel like I'm gonna mispress or not be able to press it, so this is a really cool design here. On the sides, you just have the action button thing, same story, they're very easy to press. I'm not a huge fan of big, bulky cases like the OtterBox cases, and this I would say is on the bigger side, which is something that I was a little bit worried about. But having it in my hands, it's really not that bad, and it's actually pretty lightweight given how thick this case is, or how big this case is. On the sides here, it does have some bumpers, so that way if you do happen to drop the case, it's not like the glass is gonna hit it straight down. And then there's a really cool design right here where on the bottom, it does become flush with the home button right here. So when you try to swipe up to go home, your finger doesn't get caught right here, which I think is a really, really cool design. On the back here, you will notice that there are 2 points where you can add moment lenses, which is not something that I plan on adding. Maybe I will, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I will try just to test it out. Drop a comment, let me know if you want me to test some of those out. Again, not something I really plan on doing, but something I think is pretty cool. As far as the quick lock system, all you gotta do is you just line it up right there, and then you just snap it in. You'll hear it click once it clicks on. One quick con that I noticed about this system is that when you do press it on, I don't know if you can see that right there, but you do tend to get a thumbprint because it's a little hard to not touch the glass when you're placing this on. And because this is a quick lock system, I do plan on taking it off and putting it on. So it is a little annoying that that does happen. But inside the case that it comes with, there is a cloth that comes inside, so it's really easy to wipe down on the go. Or if you want to do it quick and dirty, you can always wipe it on your shirt. Another cool design here is that you'll notice that they do have a cutout for the LED light and then the IR, and it's not blocking that microphone right there. On the sides right here, when you have the quick lock case on, you do have this red button that you can press to quickly take off this quick lock variable ND. And on this side, you do have a knob to change the intensity of the ND. So again, this is just nice, quick and compact, really easy to use. Now, I did some testing before I did this video, and I did notice that this quick lock system does suffer from the X-crossing vignetting that you typically see in variable NDs. Now, that's a con, and I wouldn't necessarily hold it against the moment for this because it's something that's a common issue with variable NDs, but maybe like a 3 to 8 stop would be better, so that way I don't have to put it as intense. I'm not quite sure of the logistics of how that would happen, but if that's something that matters to you, keep that in consideration when trying to purchase this. So yeah, all in all, this is a really small, lightweight, compact, inconspicuous system that can allow you to get cinematic videos in places that you might not be able to bring a Sony camera into, which I find very attractive and very cool. Because this is obviously an ND system, I can also use this outside, add it into my workflow, and I've already done some color grade tests to see how the Apple Log 2 pairs with the Sony camera, and it's just all amazing. Now, to get into the cons of this, I did notice that the MagSafe magnets aren't that strong. It's more of a feeling thing. It's kind of hard to showcase on video, but I did buy this Ulanzi accessory that has MagSafe on it, and I just noticed that it just comes off a little easier than I would like. Prior to picking this up, I was rocking this cool red Taurus case that I got for like 20-something bucks on Amazon. And this one, it feels a lot stronger. The magnets feel a lot stronger on this case. If MagSafe is something that's important to you, just keep that in mind when using this. Another thing too is if I was to keep this variable ND filter on, I tend to want to put the phone face down. And sometimes I don't always want to think about whether I'm putting my phone face down on the cameras or face down on the screen. But I do find that I don't want to place it flat on a table like this. I'd want to put my phone face down, but it just makes me a little bit more, more careful with my device because of if I was to keep this backside on. Now, this last thing that I'm about to talk about is something that is very important to me and why it's kind of a deal breaker. So I probably, like you, care a lot about image quality, and I want to make sure that I can get the best settings as possible. And to get the best quality video, in my opinion, is to also get amazing audio. Right now, I'm using the Ceremonic Ultra wireless system to get the audio from you because you never know what kind of situation you're gonna be in. I'm at a park where some guys are playing basketball over there. Some kids are at the park on the swings, and those things are creaky. So having a wireless system helps because then I can get clearer audio without having to get other ambient sounds that I'm not trying to get. Now, why do I bring that up? I recently picked up the Hollyland Lark A1, and these microphones are made specifically for iPhone. I bought these specifically so I can create content with my iPhone and get clear audio, and the quality from these mics are amazing. So I love having this. But the issue is that when I try to plug this little receiver into this system, you'll notice that it's too thick. It does not plug in. And that is such a huge oversight to me. They clearly were thinking about design when they did the color, when they did the lips on the side, and especially this bottom part shows me that they actually put some thought into the design and thickness of this case, because this feels so good, and everything about this case, from the aesthetics to the usability and utility, is so amazing. but not being able to plug this small little device when you know that your clientele that's gonna buy this is into filmmaking. Audio is a huge part of that. Why did you make it so thick that I can't put it on the bottom right here? It's just such a disappointment, and I can't tell you how excited I was when this came in the mail and then I put everything together, only to find that this little device just does not fit. And for someone like me, I definitely value audio quality over image quality. So having that 180-degree shutter rule is not nearly as important as having accessibility to stuff like this. So yeah, man, I mean, that's kind of a huge bummer for me. All right, so I wanted to chime in real quick and share a little workaround that I found. So I found these little USB-C extenders that pretty much act as a spacer for USB-C devices. So this extender now allows me to plug in the USB-C dongle for the Hollyland microphones into the bottom of the Moment case. Now this workaround does solve my problem, but I really wish I didn't have to buy something like this. So Moment, if you're watching, please make a version 2 where the bottom lip of the case isn't as thick and you got a perfect case on your hands. Anyway, back to the video. Now, like I said earlier, that's a bummer for me. I don't want to say that this is a bad system. This is very inspiring and I think it's really, really cool. I'm not sure if other companies make systems like this, but I really like Moment. I think they make amazing products. So I don't want to say that they're a bad company or this is a bad product. If you don't really care to add stuff like this, then, you know, by all means, go ahead and grab this case. It's lightweight, it looks cool. This Quicklock VND system is amazing. So if you're someone that's okay with the internal microphones on this, then yeah, I mean, by all means, go ahead and grab this system. But I would urge Moment, if you're listening, that if you make a version 2 of this case where it's literally everything the same, but you just shave down the thickness on this bottom part right here, I will throw you my money. I would love to have this case. I really do appreciate the design and the aesthetics. It's just that one thing that kind of kills it for me. But yeah, I guess that concludes my thoughts on the Moment iPhone 17 Pro Quicklock system. If you're like me and care about audio and made it this far into the video, go ahead and drop some microphones in the bottom to let me know that you made it all the way to the end. That would be greatly appreciated. I also know I did not introduce myself. Hello, my name is Brian to Earth, AKA BTE Got Shots, and I am new to YouTube and I'm very excited to continue this journey. I have a series in mind where I plan on doing some more tests with this variable ND, see what the image quality is like. I want to do a breakdown on the Blackmagic camera app so that way I can give you guys the best settings and then some quick tips to get the best out of the Blackmagic Cam app. So if that's something you're interested in, like I said, go ahead and subscribe, like, and comment. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.